I hate getting up early, which you can see we've done. Oh, I used to have to get up at like 4 a.m. for a job. I hate it. 7 a.m., that's when I wake up. That's when I wake up. But I don't know how we're going to be able to see this, but I think today's worth getting up for. I think it's worth getting up for. So we are going to be driving some very special cars to a rather special event here in South Australia. Now, I'm mostly looking forward to this because it will be the first time I've ever driven this XC Falcon Cobra. And it was something special. God, it sounds good. Sounds fantastic. Oh. Oh my God. So before we get carried away with what this is and the story behind it, we first need to get ourselves organised, hop in the cars and drive to Oakbank, South Australia so we can go to the All Ford Day here in SA. This gentleman right here is a mate of mine for over 20 years, Travis Brooks, and he is driving my younger brother's XA Fairmont, which we've recently been doing some work on, replacing most of the front end bushes and rebuilding the carb. Now, the original plan was for Travis to drive down in my green XB John Goss coupe. However, she's deciding to go through yet another phase, this one being the desire to have a Bluetooth fan belt.
Oh, playmates.
So instead we stuck Trav in this fuddy-duddy spec 250 inline 6 brown lounge chair, which now drives incredibly well, although slightly underpowered, and cruised on down to the event.
Yeah, they're not going to do it now, they said, yeah. Is it okay if I pull over and I've got a drone, I want to send it up while we're parking, is that going to be all right?
even though we've brought two classics, the All Ford Day is about all of the Fords, which means there was quite the variety of different era Fords on show. And this year marked 100 years of Ford being in Australia and nearly 50 years of this car event happening. Unfortunately, it also marked 10 years since Ford closed their manufacturing plant here in Australia, leaving our little fragile Ford hearts with an empty void as the Falcon and our famous Barra Inline 6 stopped production. However, here on this day, you could feel the Ford passion, with projects clean and meticulous parked next to the patinaed but not forgotten, which sat alongside the worked and modified, all of which was backfilled with this warm, flowing soup of passionate and perhaps slightly delusional Ford fans.
He likes it. Right, really. I like Mustangs. You know, they did the old one.
It looks at home though, doesn't it? Dude's in custom scrape. I did what you did. What is it? Summoning it? Summoning it? No, what do you say?
Manifesting.
Manifesting.
It's got about 6 I think. And I was asleep in the back.
So, I'm gonna keep it baby blue. I want to keep it as ugly as possible.
So we've been out at the All Ford Day now for 5 hours. Great turnout. It's been really, really impressive actually how many cars are here and the variety of cars. But what we really need to know is what were your thoughts on the mighty XA?
It actually still steers a lot better after you greased it and bushed it, but it is very gutless on the pedal. I had to flatten it before every hill just to make it up, and if you were a bit lax on the throttle trying to catch up to Brandon, yeah, it would no hope.
The key takeaway there is I fixed something. I did something better. I improved it. Now, so we're just hanging out. We're going to wait for the raffle. There's been a few events and stuff. We'll see if anything wins as well. We've got the Cobra being judged. And then from there, I think we'll make our way home, go to the pub, chill out for the rest of the day. It's quite warm. I've been sweating a lot.
We need a 10, eh?
Yeah, we didn't come forward. Other people got the gear.
It's automatic, you don't touch it, you know, you put in D, where you go. Yeah.
And that raffle was a rig. Come on, like, how many A green tickets were there?
So Travis had, what numbers did you have? You had 68, 69, and there was 66 and 71.
And there was a 96 the reverse, and I was like, ah, poo.
Oh, so we'll file our official complaint. It's rigged.
Listen to it! This right here is an XC Cobra, or Cobra. Now this one here is Dad's favourite of the collection. This is something he's been working for years to try and get. And it's got a great story about it. And this is a special car in its own. This was meant to go racing. You could go to the dealership and buy a race car. And the first few actually went racing, since this car is a homologation special, one of only 400 ever produced, with roughly 200 of which had the 302 Cleveland V8 and the rest, including this one, the more powerful 351 V8. And this car, inspired by the Shelby Cobras from America, was to celebrate the 1-2 finish of the Ford Coupes at the Bathurst 1000 in 1977, driven by Alan Moffat and Colin Bond. But as special as these cars were, they were also a marketing ploy to be rid of the last 400 Ford Falcon Coupes ever to be produced, as the new XT Falcon would only come out as a sedan, wagon, or a ute. Nevertheless, the limited edition run of the Falcon brought the Ford racing pedigree to the Aussie consumer. Only drama was, none of them won. This started getting a name for itself. It became the most famous car to never win Bathurst, which I think is quite funny, but it's still a riot to drive. It's great fun and it's super special. Now this one's lost some of its specialness in some regards. The original motor isn't here anymore. That's got a hole in the block about that big, and it doesn't have its original transmission. Regardless, I still think this car's special because of one particular story. My dad, back in the 1900s, when dinosaurs roamed the earth, he saw this thing, drinking dinosaurs. And he said, that looks amazing, I want one. Now he couldn't afford it, he was a kid, he couldn't afford it. So, he kept dreaming. And one day when he was a teenager working for this guy, driving his trucks, his boss rocked up in one of these. And it was a moment of, do you meet your heroes? And then his boss came up to him and said, why don't we go for a spin? His boss took him around, did a lap, did some hooning, and Dad fell in love. He met his hero and it was absolutely worth it. Now, it was still a pipe dream up at this point, right? Now, it was still a pipe dream. Dad couldn't afford one. There was no way he was going to go out and purchase one of these. But as time went on, he started earning more and more money. And he kept looking, I want one. But they were too expensive or too ratted out, too much of a project. Then Dad put his feelers out in the paper and he said, I want an XC Cobra, is anyone selling? He got two phone calls, one from an absolute drop kick and one from the guy who was selling this. Called him up and said, let's have a look. And Dad fell in love. And then he looked down at the badge, which numbers the Cobra. And on that badge, it said 015. Now the first ones are far more collectible than this one here. This one never went racing, even though it's got the livery on it. But underneath the 0 was something else. So we peeled the 0 off, and underneath was a 1. And And that meant something really important. That meant this was 115. And the reason that number, God, listen to it. The reason that number is so special is because number 115, Cobra number 115, was the Cobra that his boss owned and that drove him around in when he was a teenager. I think that story is incredible. I truly think that is an amazing story, and I love that this car has got that much history. And because it's so special, because it's went on this journey with Dad, all of us kids now adore it. We're all going to fight over it when he passes, though he said he's going to bury it with himself, so I don't know, we'll see if we can get to it before he digs the hole.